How you start your day matters because it's the only part of your day that you actually have control over. Think about that. It's the only part of your day you have control over. So why not take control of how you start your mornings? And that's the premise of The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod, the not so obvious secret guaranteed to transform your life before 8 a.m. The Miracle Morning is one of those miracle books. It's actually a great story if you're into authorship, and as a newish author, I'm fascinated with how he self-published the original copy of this book. He's since sold over 2 million copies. This expanded and updated edition is actually published with my publisher, Ben Bella. So we have the same publisher, which is pretty cool. But kudos to Hal for writing a book, self-publishing it, and doing over 1 million copies, well over 1 million before he ever had a publisher work with him. So one of those rare success stories on the self-published side of things, which is really cool. There's more and more of them coming out. But it's one of those books that's been like recommended, right, forever for me to read. Never read it. I was never a morning person, so I wasn't interested in it. And morning routines just got so trendy in the last decade that I was just like over it. And so I just kind of put it off. But to be fair, I have been transformed by waking up early every morning. I have my own morning routine. I actually outline it in my new book, Rebel, and I'm going to do an episode on it upcoming. So that'll be something to watch as well. But this is definitely a read worth going through, even if you already have a morning routine, to see how he does it. Very straightforward book. I think two things that I love about this book is one, it's very practical, and he has a lot of acronyms. I love acronyms. But two, I actually enjoyed his story. This guy's had a lot of trauma in his life and has overcome a lot of stuff. And he has such positivity about him. Really violent car accident, cancer. I mean, he's gone through a ton of stuff, and he just has a joie de vivre that is admirable. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that he starts his day this way. So you definitely got to read it to get a sense of what's going on. But let me just give you a sense. There's 6 things he does every morning, and that's what he makes up his SAVERS acronym, because they're lifesavers for him. They saved his life. And so that's the acronym SAVERS. But functionally, it's a combination of meditation, affirmations, which we'll get to in a second, visualization, reading, journaling, and exercise. And so he recommends blocking off an hour and doing around 10 minutes each of those, or you could do 5 minutes on your affirmations and have 20 minutes to read or whatever. And he just took like 6 of the most common personal development strategies that help people feel their best self and become their best self. And he just shoved them all into one morning routine, and it worked. And so I can definitely attest to, for me, the meditation, like the silence in the morning, and I pray as a Christian, so prayer, but don't like jump out of bed and just roll into your day. Like if you start your day with chaos, that is how you're setting your day up. Like that, you're bathing your starting line of the race in chaos. It's going to be a chaotic day. But if you start your day in silence, which means you might have to wake up before the kids or your spouse or before you get to work, where the house is actually quiet. Even 10 minutes of set your timer on your phone, silence, to at least clear your mind before it's racing. If you're an entrepreneur like me, your mind's racing. I got kids, I have a wife, I've got a business, I got a book that's coming out, I got stuff I'm working on. My mind's already racing. I can attest to the power of silence in the morning. Ruth Barton, I think I'm blanking on her, if that's her last name. She wrote a great book, The Power of Silence and Solitude, or Invitation to Silence and Solitude. Just the power of silence, I 100% agree with. So meditation, prayer, silence. Journaling, which is his S, it's his final S, scribing as he calls it. Journaling has transformed my life. I used to make fun of people who journaled. I know I did. I make fun of people who journaled. I hate writing physically with a pen, but I have committed to journaling just about every day, at least 5 days a week. And it's transformed my life. I journal things that I'm grateful for. I journal through scripture that I'm reading, and I journal out thoughts, challenges, ideas, and just getting it out of my head onto paper. There's something transformative that happens. And so those two for sure, I've been doing for a long time. They've made a big difference to me. I want to touch on 2 quick things though. One, affirmations. This is something that I actually believe in, but I'm so grateful for his take on it, because affirmations are a little woo-woo depending on what you believe and where you come from. And it's hard for a lot of people to affirm something that isn't true. Like if you're very overweight and unhealthy, to say like, I am thin and healthy, it feels like lying, because you're like, I'm actually literally not. I understand you're trying to focus on the goal, but I don't think of affirmations like that. I think of affirmations as affirming personally what is true that I forget, right? So you can, for example, if you're struggling with, let's say, your marriage and you're fighting a lot, an affirmation for your marriage could be, what is something that is true about what you feel about your spouse and how they feel about you? And so it can be like, my wife is committed to our marriage and loves me dearly. Like that is a truth. If you know that's true, you may not feel that truth, but it's very powerful to affirm what is actually true in your life. For me as a Christian, a lot of times I have to affirm the goodness of God and all the scriptures and the promises of God of how he will provide for all of my needs. Psalm 23, the Lord is my shepherd. I lack no good thing. I have everything I need, in the New Living Translation. That is an affirmation that's worth repeating, because I don't live like that a lot of times. I feel like I don't have what I need. I can be stressed out, but an affirmation of what I know to be true that I've forgotten, that presses it deep into my heart and my mind. So I like to affirm things that are true that I forget. He likes to affirm things that he's committed to. And I love this. What is something that you are committed to? So, and it's something you pre-write down, and you can have an affirmation like, I am committed to showing up for my children as the best father I possibly can, spending time with them each day on their level with eye contact and giving them a compliment or something like that. You could affirm something that you were committed to. It could be in your health journey. It could be in your business journey. It could be in your financial journey. But I love that when you talk about affirmations, the power of affirmations is the reciting of something that you want to press deep into your subconscious, but not reciting a wish to a genie that doesn't exist for something that's not true. Affirm something that you are committed to. What is the part that you're committed to? And then affirm truth that you know to be true that you're quick to forget. So I love his take on affirmations. I think there's something powerful there. I didn't always do that, but I've been doing it in the last year or so. It's been very powerful for me. I find the days when I read through affirmations or write down my affirmations, I have way more peace. And the times that I'm like, I don't have time for that, I'm a little frazzled. Final thing I loved is there's a whole chapter called The 6-Minute Miracle Morning, for those days when you're short on time. And what I loved about this is I am an extremist. There's something called the extreme reach barrier in psychology, which is like you want to do something and then your mind goes to the extreme. So for example, you're like, I want to start a business. You're like, but I don't know what my logo is going to be, and I don't know how to design a website. And you go all the way to the end and so you're like, I give up. When it's like, no, that's not the first step to starting a business. Just start to think about what problem you might solve in the world and what you're passionate about and all these things. Like you went way too far down the road and then talked yourself out of it. You went to the extreme and it becomes a barrier. I do that a lot. So on a day, for example, when I'm not going to have a ton of time, or I really have to get up early and I have to run to the airport or run to an early, men's group or something, and I overslept or whatever, I'm going to be like, I'm the guy that's going to be like, there's no time for a morning routine. And then there's this chapter, the 6-Minute Miracle Morning, and he basically takes the 6 elements of his morning routine and says, just set a timer for 1 minute for each of those. 1 minute of silence, you're just breathing, right? 1 minute of your affirmations, just maybe pick one and just look at it and recite it over and over again. 1 minute of reading, you could just open up a book like The Miracle Morning, look at one page and just read one paragraph and just lock that idea in. 1 minute of journaling, right? 1 minute of exercise. So just do some jumping jacks to get the blood flowing. And I know I'm missing one other one. And visualization. 1 minute of visualization. Like just imagine, go through the scenario, pre-experience the scenario you're going to have that day, even for 60 seconds. 6 minutes. It seems like, well, that doesn't take long at all. It is amazing how just 6 minutes of intentional, quiet time going through those things can actually make a difference in your day. So I was like, okay, Hal, I see you. Challenge accepted. A 6-minute morning routine is better than 0-minute morning routine. So there you go. The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod. A lot to unpack in it, but a very simple book if you think about it. If you've never been intentional about waking up early and doing a morning routine, it's very practical, especially if you're not a morning person, because he was not either. And I think you'll find this a very approachable start to transforming your life through transforming your mornings. Let me know if you've read The Miracle Morning, what you think about it. As always, thanks for following me on this 52 book journey. I think this was book 14 of 52, so we'll be rolling along, and I'll see you on next week's book review.